Now we can mount the ductwork. I already have my wall cap in the wall.
You just blocked my face.
Ductwork.
Literally perfectly. It was like blocked my face. Oh.
There's nothing that kills a house quicker than moisture, and today starts the install of the systems that we'll be using to manage that moisture. First being that sheet metal box is the housing for our bath fan.
And not only are we installing a bath fan in this upstairs bathroom, we also have one in our half bath, and we're also installing a whole house dehumidifier.
That dehumidifier will be linked in with our main ductwork system. And what's cool about the system we're using is it's completely integrated with one another and indoor air quality sensors in the house, so it can basically run automatically and adjust itself automatically. Broen is the manufacturer, and they have done a great job at making products that actually work together.
Special thanks to Broen Newtone for supporting our project by sending us out these fans. We just finished softening down this ceiling. We have 10-foot ceilings in majority of our apartment, but in the bathroom, to accommodate for the fan vent, we needed to soften this down to about 9 feet.
So we have all but one joist remaining. It's gonna be this one right here. So we've basically centered the fan in the shower, which was tricky because of our sloped ceiling here, but I've just temporarily clamped this box in place where it's gotta be, both centered this way and this way in the shower, and now we have a good clear indicator of where our ceiling joist needs to go. So let's get that screwed in.
We considered moving the fan outside of the shower slightly in order to avoid having to soften down the ceiling, but that wouldn't be ideal with dealing with any of that moisture in the shower, and I also wanted our shower to be completely lit. Other ideas we threw around for dealing with the vent were putting in a tray ceiling or putting a barrel ceiling in the shower itself. We ultimately decided that doing the soffit was the way to go for us, but those are some other options if you're looking to do the same. Do you have the board ready?
I have no clue. It's right here.
Did you say I have no clue? All right. Our clamp is in our way. Oh no, it should be far enough down. I just have to. The screws are on the wrong. Oh, we're screwing it on both sides?
Uh-huh. Make sure it fits first.
Is that too tight?
I don't think so.
But we got to get it to there, right?
We sure do. The elevation of the box might have to change. That was a guesstimate, so.
We're just trying to get this mounted.
Let me get the hammer out, hold on.
This is a very dirty board.
Yes, but it's a very straight board.
What's the black stuff?
Compared to the other ones. Yep, those two tabs should be underneath the board.
So we should bring that down.
We're looking just to position the board right now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to gasp. Verify.
Just like this. 28 3/4. Yours says 32, so you just got to come in quite a bit on your end and quite a bit out on my end.
That's not going anywhere.
We're clamped into place now that we have our joist in. I'm gonna just go ahead and screw through the mounting flange on the back side. It's time to mount the bottom fan housing now. I've already got it prepped with my little tabs bent out, got the damper in just to dry fit it, and then also have a Romex connector in the side of it, preparing it for the wire. If you remember our HVAC video, I softened the ceiling down in preparation for not only this bath fan, but to be able to run our line sets to our mini split. So this is coming in handy now. So when I drilled that exterior hole, I had the location of this bath fan in mind. It centers it perfectly in the room. Then I've also already blocked out this joist right here. With these little shims I have tacked up here, the bath fan fits perfectly between these two joists. With the sheet metal box mounted, now we can mount the ductwork. I already have my wall cap in the wall.
You just blocked my face.
Ductwork.
Literally perfectly. It was like blocked my face. Oh, it's so funny.
It's okay.
Okay.
We just have to make one little jog upwards in elevation. That's what this guy's for. That's a configurable 90-degree elbow where you can rotate them around, really handy. And then just a short little piece of duct, maybe 2 feet or so. I'm gonna use hard pipe. Flex duct works too, but I prefer hard pipe to flex when we can use it, just because it is, in my opinion, a little bit longer lasting, more robust, easier to clean, that sort of thing. So let's get it ducted. Elena's dad, Mark, is here helping us out, and this is gonna be his project. So we're gonna show a couple clips of him installing it, and we'll do the upstairs too while we're at it. We've already cut off the one pre-crimped piece here, and this is actually a downspout crimper made by Malco that I just found. I don't even know where this thing came from, but it seems to be working. Well, it's kind of, crimps are kind of coarse. I'm not sure. I might have to, maybe I need to space them out a little bit more or not go as deep. We'll see if this works. This will be a good test, good test run. Collar end here, no, probably like 20.5 inches. This is gonna be real fun when you gotta do 5 feet at once. And it's in. I don't even know if you can get it out after that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's done.
Yep. So if you gotta trim it, you gotta trim it as is. Yeah, I mean, that works. There's our no pest vent wall cap. Got 2 flaps on it, outer flap and inner flap, so that, in theory, no pests can get in.
AKA birds.
Yeah, and so for screwing this together, we gotta just put 3 sheet metal screws in at equal distance, but we're gonna line the seams up in the upwards position. I think it's just for like condensation or whatever, and then give it a little zip screw. Yep, and you can pretty much feel the moment it tightens up. And yeah, you can see it sticking through in there. For the dryer duct, I think there's actually like specs on the amount of protrusion that the screws can be because of the lint buildup, but something like a bathroom fan, I don't think it's that big of a deal. We'll have some little bit of adjustability. Anything we probably want to leave this angled down just a hair. No 2-legged stools, Elena.
Yeah, you can't have 2-legged stools.
So why do they make those screws so long that they protrude through?
I mean, you can get them in different lengths. I got 3/8 and 1/2. 3/8 probably doesn't make that big of a difference because it's just 2 thin pieces of sheet metal. I mean, it's not very thick.
Did you wait to tape it until you get it hooked up in there? To make sure it aligns?
No, because I mean, if anything, we're gonna be trimming off this side anyway. We can tape it ahead. This is a really nice tape, mastic tape, so it's got basically a built-in layer of duct sealant. It's this black sticky stuff. So there's a release film, and then you got to squeegee it on for full potential. And so this sort of seals up everything. And honestly, for a bath fan, this is kind of overkill, but it's what I got for the rest of the duct system. So might as well use a couple feet of it for the bath fans as well. And the top is like a foil backer. Definitely avoid sticking it where you don't want it because it doesn't like to come up very easily. Thank you for the scissors, Mark. Boom. A little squeegee action, try to get some of these wrinkles out. And the pressure of the squeegee activates the adhesive in the mastic, so it's pressure sensitive adhesive. That right there is an airtight joint. Bada bing, bada boom. Stick it through and let her go. Let her flip, let her fly.
Is that supposed to go in that?
Yep.
How's it looking in there?
I have to put the pipe on it yet.
Okay. That'll work. We're in. Oh yeah, so we need to do a test fit with the cap. So if we push this thing on, where is it gonna land? I think that's pretty good. A feature we're putting in our garage that I don't even know if I've ever seen before is a garage fan to exhaust fumes from our cars after we shut them off but the garage doors are closed. If you haven't followed along with the build, all of our living space is upstairs, right up these stairs. So if there's any carbon monoxide that's floating around in here after we shut our cars off, it has potential to migrate up there. We are building a really airtight envelope. We're gonna be using Siga Mirex on the ceiling here, but we thought an extra measure of prevention was using just a regular old, basically bath fan. It has no light in it, but we're gonna put it right here by the stairs. I've already drilled the exterior wall penetration for it before we did our siding. And the idea is this will capture any of the excess fumes after we park our cars. Now, how are we gonna control this? We are gonna be using a 2040-60 switch from Rowan Newtone. They're the same people who made the bath fan. It's a button switch that you press it for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, or 60, and we're locating it right at the bottom of our stairs by our main entrance, so that anytime we come home, we're walking up the stairs, we just flip that. It'll run this thing for a predetermined amount of time and shut it off, so it's not running all day and night, exhausting our conditioned air. Another benefit of this fan is we're hoping to make this part of the garage sort of an exercise nook, at least in the short term. So in the winter, when we don't want to open the doors up for fresh air, we can exhaust all of our hot, sweaty, humid air with this garage fan that's going to be right above us essentially. And we can keep our air quality a little bit better while we're working out. Although the primary reason we're doing this is for the car exhaust. Step one is to mount this, whoa, let's drop it. Step one is to mount the enclosure. This is just a regular old sheet metal box, comes with the fan. I'm going to be screwing it up to the I-joist. I put some blocking up there so that it's kind of furred out from the I-joist. It's not going to interfere with our flanges. And it puts this outlet at the right location of where I drilled my wall penetration to the exterior. We're going to mount this right about here in that joist bay, but this is an I-joist, so the first step is blocking out the webbing of the I-joist. This is a 5/4 inch deck board. That gets us to basically flush with the side of the eye, and then another 1/2 inch piece of ply will get us to the correct distance. This thing has got to be located in the joist to line up with where I drilled the wall cap. These little tabs locate the correct depth relative to the ceiling so that it sticks out just enough for the drywall to come flush with the face of that lip. With the box mounted, now we got to drill the holes to get the ductwork down in through the wall. I'm going to come over through the stud and then right down through the floor. I didn't want to come out through the soffit because it's too close to my vented attic. I didn't want warm, moist air from the shower being pulled right back up into the attic space. So I decided to go straight down. It's a little bit of a longer run, more elbows, but I really didn't want to risk getting that condensation too close to the attic. I think that's even part of code now. I've read it at one point before, but I can't remember the exact verbiage, but I believe it's 3 foot from a ventilated soffit that the outlet of a bath fan is not allowed to be. And the soffit comes down to like probably this level right here. So I'm not even sure what I do. I have to run it in the exterior wall, I guess, and I definitely don't want to do that. So this is the next best alternative. I'm just gonna sort of eyeball and mock this up with the 2 elbows. This is gonna be a straight 90. The 90 is gonna be tilted on an angle like this, and then I'm gonna, once I get through this stud, I'll 45 straight down with another adjustable elbow. Oh, this poor little drill does not like this. I see it smoking. Unfortunately, this giant bit didn't fit in my angled drill, which would be the right tool for this. And come on, little DeWalt, you got this. Oh gosh. Yeah, probably should let her cool off for a little bit. There she goes. That was rough. I wasn't able to drill all the way through, so I had to take my tiny little drill bit and make little holes all the way around on the back side. But I got her. It's rough, but it'll do. All right, I've got some mock-up done. I think this is gonna work out really nicely. I wanted to make sure I got this done not only to drill that hole in the right place, but the hole in the floor directly beneath this guy in the right place. And there she is. And if you look closely, you can see the pipe down below that I'm going to 90 into from this. So that was good that I thought about that ahead of time before we put our siding on. This is gonna be fun. I got that 4-inch piece of pipe just loosely hanging out in there. There's my wall penetration, and I have a piece of duct like this mocked up that I'm going to just dry fit in there now and see if I can get that all to work and make sure everything's the right length. Yep, this is just as much of a pain as I thought it would be. I did want to note though that this, it's hard to see it in this light, but this Milwaukee right angle attachment though has gotten me out of some really sticky situations and getting fasteners in at really hard spots. Like I need to get 3 fasteners on this elbow, and 2 of the 3 are basically inaccessible. They're coming from either side, but this little tool right here has made all the difference in getting those fasteners, and it would be impossible otherwise. Finally done with this thing. So I masticed it, I sealed it to the floor with some big stretch, sealed it to the inside of the rim board with some big stretch, sealed it on the outside with some big stretch.
Does it have to be at a certain angle, the seam? Milwaukee right angle adapter. Ready to do a review?
Boom, 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 boom. Getting in spaces I can't before. Fast forward several months, I neglected to get finished footage of the rough-in before we got our insulation and our Sega vapor control layer on, but it didn't change much. Once I got all the piping connected and fastened, I used some mastic to seal everything up, and this vertical pipe is pretty heavy. It's 26 gauge sheet metal, which is probably a lot heavier duty than it really needs to be, but I made this little L bracket in order to fasten that and keep it from shifting in the wall. Nail plates anywhere it passed through the top and bottom plates, completed the installation, and now we are ready for a shower in this area. The garage fan used the same 4-inch 26 gauge pipe to go straight out that joist bay. It comes right through the band joist out to that no pest vent right there next to our deck ledger. One more little tidbit that I wanted to add in this video about these bath fans, because I know that I'll probably get this question in the comments, is why we aren't using the ERV, this guy right here, which we'll have a video on in the future, why we aren't using that to do all of our bathroom exhaust venting. And there's a number of reasons. It's definitely something that I'll consider in the future edition build, but it didn't really work out for this build. Here's why. We're in garage utility space down here, and the living space is a totally separate air zone, or whatever you want to call it. The downstairs and upstairs cannot share air by any pathway. So the downstairs bathroom doesn't have a shower in it, but I wanted to put a fan in there anyway because there is a toilet in it. But that could not be the ERV because of the fact that we can't share upstairs and downstairs air. That would have been a linked air pathway. So the downstairs bath needed the fan to start with. Same reason for the garage fan, can't share air there either. But another reason I decided to keep the bath fan separate from the ERV was because I decided on a central return for the ERV. There's a number of different configurations that you can do as far as ducting an ERV. One being, direct pulling return air from all the various dirty air sources, kitchen and bathrooms mainly. But the kitchen is really far away, and so I couldn't really do that without a very large duct, which wasn't going to fit in my HVAC soffit, which is already packed with our main actual duct trunks. So the upstairs bath would have been the only return air source that I could have done sort of a direct return from. And I guess I would have had to tee that into my central return because I didn't want the only return being in the bathroom. So I did that central hall return, but I didn't really want to mix the central and the bath. I just didn't think that was a good idea to have 2 ducts running into each other. I need to damper one down probably to make sure the airflow is even from the 2. So I just didn't really want that extra complication. And the framing to make that happen was a little bit tricky. I would have had to put a pretty big hole in one of the eye joists to accommodate that duct. And it's the same bay that all of my plumbing, all of my drain and supply lines are coming through. So there really wasn't an open space in that joist to even make a hole. So it was just way easier to go straight out the side of the wall. And that is another reason I ended up doing a separate bath fan for the upstairs. And finally, the shower is probably the second biggest moisture generator next to a boiling pot of water on the stove. So in general, I think it's best to just straight up try to exhaust that if possible. ERVs are totally rated to handle the moisture and transfer that to the incoming airstream. But if I don't have to make the machine do that, then I think it probably will be better on the filters and the core and everything in the long term not to be running a ton of moisture through it. So that was yet another reason to just keep the ERV separate, let it do its own thing from the central return, and keep the bath fans separate. That's a wrap on bath and garage ventilation fan rough-in. After drywall, I'm gonna cover the install of the actual fans and wiring them up separately. I'm pretty excited to get those bath fans going because not only do they have a multicolor changing light, but they also have Bluetooth speaker capability, so I can jam when I'm in the shower. So we'll cover that in a future video. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.